at the bye week, the offense has been really bad. Let's talk about why that is. Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and today we'll be talking about the New York Jets offense and going through the main reasons why they've struggled so far this year. Now, before we get started, just wanted to mention you can follow me on social media, and you could also subscribe to the Just Jets podcast, wherever it is that you get your podcast. New episodes come out on every single Wednesday. You can call in with your reaction after the games. I'll try to get it on the show. So there's a few obvious ones and just some other points I wanted to talk about this New York Jets offense through the first, 5 games of the season? Yeah. 5 games. Sorry, it's been a bit much so far this year, but let's start with the first and most obvious one, rookie quarterback inconsistencies. Now, I know that most people wanted Zach Wilson to come in and be phenomenal right away. Fortunately, in the NFL, you don't always get to see that, and right now, a lot of rookie quarterbacks have been struggling. Trevor Lawrence has struggled, Zach Wilson struggled, Mac Jones has been good but up and down. And Justin Fields and Trey Lance are just starting to, get their playing time. Davis Mills had a good game, but I mean, he's been struggling too. Point is, rookies struggle, and there's a lot of highs and a lot of lows when it comes to playing with a rookie quarterback. And unfortunately, in a couple of the New York Jets losses, the team around them played well, except for the quarterback. And this past week, more specifically, Atlanta, not that the defense was great, but there was just a lot of throws left on the field, unfortunately. And the game against the Patriots, I think, is the biggest example of, a lot of guys playing well, except for, the rookie. But some things that are scary with Zach Wilson, and by scary, I don't mean like this is unfixable, just it's going to be bad. But as of right now, the missing of the gimme throws. So like the screens are what should be easy completion. He missed on 2 screens in a row against the Falcons, which is just straight up, it's bad. I think he is just playing too amped up right now. I think he's going a mile a minute, and he just kind of needs to calm it down and relax a little bit. In the preseason, we saw him much more comfortable, and I think the bye week coming at this time is the perfect time because you kind of just get him to relax a little bit. The gimme throws were much more achievable for him in the preseason and in training camp. And at times he's been a little bit late or holding on too long, and I think that's led to some of the turnovers, and some is just bad decisions. But again, he's 5 games into an NFL career. If he's making these plays 40 games in, like another quarterback that I can't talk about anymore, then it's a different story. Then you could talk about moving on, but I'm not going to be concerned about a quarterback 5 games into his career. There's been a lot of positive as well. For instance, the second half of Carolina, the second half against the Titans, jump out and jump off the page, and he makes these throws that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. And to me, you can't teach that, but it's much easier to come up with, hey, I got to mentally reset right now. Because to me, yeah, it's just between the ears. And if he gets that right, then look out. He's going to be a scary player. So I think the bye week coming at this time is going to be huge for him, but rookie quarterback inconsistencies is one of the main reasons why this offense has struggled. And in the second half of this year, if he starts to figure some of those out, we may see this offense begin to move up a little bit. So, offense hasn't been good, but I'm not saying, fold up the tent, call it a season, because I think it's way too early to do that. Play calling's been another issue. I don't think LaFleur's been particularly great. Again, he is 5 games into his play calling career. I am not ready to call it on him either. I am not ready to say fire him. I'm not ready to say move on. I'll give you a specific example of things that I don't like. I think too much. I like play action, but I think it's been too much play action and then letting things develop a little bit down the field, and that tends to lead to Zach Wilson holding onto the ball too long. We've seen times where players end up in the same spot running the same route, like against Denver, which is just very strange. And I would like to see some more easy completion set up. And last week there were some screens that Zach missed, but just over the course of the first 5 games of the year, I think we could have made life a little bit easier for the young quarterback. Would kill him to design some screens or some design touches to Elijah Moore, because, we heard about him all training camp long and saw big things in the preseason, or in training camp, I guess, rather, but it's been a quiet first 5 games, and I'm not ready to give up on him either. But I would just like to have him involved a little bit more. I think that's fair. Next on the list, I have personnel usage. So, like, for instance, there's two people coming to mind with their number of targets that they've received that's just a little bit much. Braxton Berrios getting 23 targets, which is second on the team, is too much. Again, I'll say it a million times, if he's your fifth wide receiver on your team, cool, fine, good with that. Ryan Griffin having 15 targets is also bizarre. Ryan Griffin also played 91% of the snaps on Sunday. Why is he on the field for 91% of your plays? I don't quite understand, but he was. I would like more Mims, Cole, Michael Carter. They should all have more targets than where they currently are at or where they're pacing to. And I would like to see a little bit more up-tempo or some speed. They just seem slow and can't get anything going right now, and it's just boring football. And some things that I would try to do to spark the offense, controversial take to some, but I would take my worst players off the field. For instance, like the Jets don't really have good tight ends. So I would try to put more wide receivers on the field. Now, I know I've seen a lot of, well, you got to keep it basic. You got to keep it simple for Zach before you can get to that point. And while I see that standpoint and I understand that point of view, I also think that there are creative ways where you can get guys open quickly and use your speed to your advantage, which the Jets just aren't doing. I think you're wasting time with, Tyler Kroft, Ryan Griffin, Daniel Brown getting on the field and getting reps. And I would try to maybe use like a big slot like Denzel Mims, who's a really good blocker. There was a specific time actually this past week where he was used in the slot on a run play and they picked up a first down. And I would try to get him on the field for, one, his blocking ability, which is really good. Keelan Cole's a good blocker. Corey Davis is a good blocker too, but contested catches. Corey Davis hasn't been really good on the 50-50 ball yet. That's going to be another one that we'll get to. But I think Cole and Mims specifically, their usage should go up because they're better players than what they're being used at right now. Next up, I got inability to run the football. 30th in rushing yards and 30th in yards per attempt. I'd like Michael Carter to be more involved with the offense. I think he's a playmaker and just needs to get some consistency going. I know the YPA isn't there. He's just sitting at 3.5. Tevin Coleman's sitting at 3.5, and then Ty Johnson's 3.7, which isn't good. You like that number to be over 4, but I think Michael Carter's starting to, separate himself as the lead back, which is a good thing. And I just think it's going to come. I don't think it's going to be something that happens right away, but their inability to run the football is part of the reason why they're struggling. There's no other explanation around that, and that gets to the next point. Why is the run game struggling? Well, the interior offensive line isn't very good. AVT has gotten significantly better. He had a really good week this past week. The last two have been really good, actually, but Connor McGovern and Greg Van Roten are still bad. They're replacement level or less than replacement level starting caliber offensive linemen, and having both of them on the field has been problematic. And it's not something the Jets could fix this year. It's something that they would have to fix in either free agency or the NFL draft or through a trade, but more than likely the draft or free agency. So you kind of just got to get around it for this year, for the remaining 12 games on the season. But it hasn't been a good go of it for Connor McGovern or Greg Van Roten, especially this year. And it's part of the reason why the offense has been as bad as what it is. The last thing on my list is drops. They supposedly have 9 on the season. It feels like a lot more than that. This is according to Pro Football Reference. They list Corey Davis with 4, but that number seems low. I think it feels like, just based off memory, that it's higher, but still, there's been balls that should have been caught. And sure, not every time, but sometimes Zach Wilson doesn't have a good throw on it, and that's part of the reason why they're not able to bring in these catches here. But 9 drops feels like a lot. So, again, helping your young quarterback and catching the football when you're paid to be a 50-50 ball guy, it should be a regular thing. Like, that shouldn't be too much of an ask. So I'd like to see more of second half of the Tennessee game Corey Davis, or week 1 Corey Davis, because when it's bad, it's been really bad. And as good as what Davis can be for this team, I think they try to just zone in on him way too much. I want them to use some of their other playmakers here, and keyword on playmakers, like the Ryan Griffin, Tyler Kroft, Daniel Brown, Braxton Berrios, Jeff Smith targets. I would lessen those. I really think if you have an explosive player like Elijah Moore, I would have my end arounds going to him. I mean, Braxton's had a couple nice runs, but I would like to see, the explosive player who went 34th overall. And you guys know how I feel about Denzel Mims. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. So, to me, those are the main reasons why the offense isn't working. Get at me in the comments what you think about the offense right now. Obviously, it's not very good, but it's things that can change. It's not written in stone, especially for these young players. Like, again, part of the reason is they're very young, and they're young in terms of coaching as well with experience. So it's going to take a little bit here. Yes, it's frustrating, but let's try to be a little bit patient and at least a little bit rational, because the irrational takes in the comment section on Twitter is going to put me in an early grave. So that's going to do it for me in this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. I'll talk to you next time.